I'll return from darkness and will save your precious skin. I will end your suffering and let the healing light come in. Sent by forces beyond salvation, there can be not one sensation. World on fire with the smoking sun stops everything and everyone. Brace yourself for all will pay. Help is on the way. I'll cover you when the sky comes crashing in. I'll go the distance, lead the way to your darkest sin. Oh, you know there's something coming down from the sky. World on fire with the smoking sun stops everything and everyone. Brace yourself for all will pay. Help is on the way.
The Thrashers set back up on the power play with about a minute 15 remaining for Atlanta as Hainsey throws it over to Goshen, who slides it over to Peverly. Back to Goshen, score! What a blast from the point by Zach Bogosian, and it's 1-0 Atlanta. Swift puck movement by the Thrashers, nice crisp pass, and bang, bang! Bogosian just got a square of it, and it was enough to put them ahead. Off to commercial break. It's 1-0 Atlanta on the Bogosian goal.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department. Extremely isolated reports are coming in of strange individuals wandering the streets of Atlanta, particularly in the alleyways and secluded parts of the city, as well as reports of people acting strangely in the city as well. At this time, these people are believed to be harmless, and no action is needed at this time. All residents within Atlanta are strongly urged to continue your daily routines, as these individuals do not pose a threat to you at this time. Stay tuned to local media outlets for more updates on this startling news.
We will save your precious skin. Ooh, let the healing light come in. Ooh, I'll cover you in the sky. Comes crashing in.
Other news, a tragic event has occurred in King County today. King County Sheriff Rick Grimes was shot in the line of duty today, while in pursuit of 3 dangerous fugitives trying to evade Linden County officers. Sheriff Grimes is currently in critical condition, and is receiving treatment at Harrison Memorial Hospital. We wish the best for Rick and his family. We will go to commercial. Actually, we have a message from the emergency alert system that will be transmitting anytime soon. Please stand by.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department. This is an update to the reports of mysterious sightings of grotesque-looking individuals. A description of these individuals has been made, and is as follows: making moaning sounds, looking extremely haggard, and look to be oblivious to anything that is going on around them. These people are walking around the dark alleyways and slums of Atlanta, ignoring any form of communication that people make with them. The nature of these individuals is currently unknown at this time, but investigation is underway to determine who these individuals are. At this time, stay tuned for more updates as they become available.
Smoking sunsets, everything and everyone. Brace yourself for all will pay. Help is on the way.
The Thrashers played their hearts out tonight, but just swallowed the short end of the stick as they lose in overtime 2-1 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Gagosian had the goal for Atlanta, while Kessel and Grotowski scored for Toronto. The Thrashers will look to snap their 2-game skid at the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes when they visit Raleigh in 2 days. When we come back,
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department. More reports of strange and sometimes grotesque-looking individuals have been made in the city of Atlanta. In addition, very isolated reports of attacks have been made in the city, particularly at Phillips Arena when a random individual attacked several Thrashers fans at the Atlanta Thrashers game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs that occurred almost 3 hours ago. At this time, all residents of Atlanta are advised to not approach these individuals, as the nature of their presence is currently unknown. If you are attacked on the streets, or in your home, get away from the attacker, and call 911 to report the attack to the police. Stay tuned for updates on this mysterious situation.
Bang, bang, bangity, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Bangity, bang. I'll trade you my lips for your lips, baby. Give you all my hugging and boo. I'll trade you my lips for your lips, baby. Give you all my hugging and boo. So if you feel you'd like to make a deal, cock your pistol and boot it.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Los Angeles Police Department. This is not a test. Please pay attention to this broadcast, as this pertains to a mysterious situation occurring within Los Angeles. At this time, mysterious sightings of distressed individuals who appear to be sick with a very contagious infection have been reported in downtown Los Angeles, Anaheim, and Long Beach, as well as the suburbs of Compton, Watts, Hyde Park, Bel Air, Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, and Brentwood. These people appear to be vomiting blood, as well as bleeding from their eyes, per reports from bystanders walking the streets. Residents are urged to stay away from these individuals, as it is unknown what the severity of this isolated infection entails for those infected. Please stay tuned for more updates as this situation develops. Civil emergency message for the city of Los Angeles. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Los Angeles Police Department. Residents of Los Angeles are advised to stay indoors at this time. Reports of gruesome attacks, cannibalism, and other crimes against humanity have been reported within Los Angeles, Long Beach, and Anaheim. These people, who are believed to be infected with the mysterious bug, are believed to be the catalysts behind these attacks. It is unknown what their intents and motivations behind the attacks are, and a police investigation is underway to determine this. Residents of the aforementioned cities and surrounding suburbs are advised to shelter in place. Do not approach these beings, as you may be attacked. Stay tuned for more information as this situation develops.
For the stars, if it feels right, then aim for my heart. If you feel like it, take me away and make it okay. I swear I'll behave. You wanted control, so we waited. I put on a show. Now and then.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department. Residents of the city of Atlanta, lock all of your doors immediately. Isolated reports of brutal attacks from the individuals from last night have been made as residents go on with their daily commute. In addition, extremely isolated reports of cannibalism and mutilation of victims, as well as most of these cases being bitings or beatings, have been reported throughout some locations within Atlanta. It is unknown what the catalysts of this behavior are at this time. Residents are advised to stay indoors, and are advised to lock all doors and windows. Do not let any suspicious individuals into your home, as it is unknown what the nature of these attackers are. Please remain tuned into news outlets as more updates become available. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department. The reports of strange attacks from unknown individuals are becoming more and more common, according to several 911 dispatchers. The volume of calls relating to medical emergencies and disturbances of peace is steadily increasing as the day goes on. At this time, residents within 5 miles of the city of Atlanta are ordered to remain indoors, and are urged to defend themselves to the fullest extent of the law. If you witness an attack, or are attacked yourself, Call your local police department, as 911 is experiencing trouble handling the still increasing number of calls. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing situation, as more information will come out when it is available. Repeating, violent attacks are becoming more widespread, and citizens should do whatever possible to stay safe. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Atlanta Police Department, the Fulton County Police Department, the King County Sheriff's Department, and the Linden County Sheriff's Department. A dangerous situation is occurring in the city of Atlanta, as well as many areas within the counties of Fulton, DeKalb, King, Linden, and Meade counties as this broadcast is being sent out at this time. As of this broadcast, all residents are instructed to stay indoors. Reports of violent attacks on civilians by other people, who seem to be deranged and grotesque looking, have been made at this time. Local law enforcement is beginning to have trouble containing these people, and state intervention may be needed in the coming hours, unless containment can't be made. In addition, there is some speculation that the attackers are infected with an unknown infection that has caused them to become feral. However, this cannot be confirmed at this time, and is just a rumor. At this time, all residents are advised to stay indoors, and are ordered not to go outside at this time. If one of the attackers enter your home, use whatever means to protect your life and property. Tune into any radio station serving your local area to get updated information on this situation. Updates will be available as soon as they come in. Do not call 911, as emergency services are starting to strain from combating this situation. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Los Angeles County Police Department and the Orange County Police Department. This is an update to the situation that has been continuously occurring for the past day. The violent attackers, as well as isolated speculations of an unknown plague, have begun to make their way out of the greater Los Angeles area. Places reporting these incidents include, but might not be limited to, Calabasas, Inglewood, San Fernando, Burbank, Universal City, Yorba Linda, Santa Ana, and Irvine. These attackers are very grotesque looking, as if they have been beaten to death, and seem to have no regards for their surroundings. All residents of Los Angeles must stay indoors, and let law enforcement handle the situation. If one of these individuals tries to attack you or your family, use whatever means you can to defend your family. Please remain tuned in, as an emergency announcement will be made in several hours by the mayor of Los Angeles. Repeating, all residents are to stay indoors, and are urged not to interfere with police operations. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Georgia State Police Department. The entire state of Georgia is in extreme danger. The violent attacks, as well as violent civil unrest as a result of the hysteria from these attacks, has spread throughout the entire state. Local law enforcement agencies have failed, and a state of emergency has been declared for the entire state of Georgia until further notice. In addition to a state of emergency, martial law has been enacted, and the military will be taking over all aspects of life. First off, a curfew will be put into effect at 8 p.m., and no one will be allowed outdoors until 8 a.m. Second off, the military is allowed to do anything as it sees fit to deal with containing these attacks, including but not limited to, holding for detention of suspicious individuals, questioning and searching individuals, and termination of civilians. Finally, a statewide moratorium is in effect, meaning nobody can enter or exit the state of Georgia. You will be arrested for entering, and immediately executed for exiting by means of firing squad. To protect your life, and to avoid any of these regulated punishments, please adhere to the civil danger product, and follow all orders given to you by the military. Once curfew ends, you are strongly recommended to gather supplies such as food, water, clothing, and a battery or hand-cranked radio or television, to stay updated on this crisis. Please stay tuned for updates pertaining to this crisis, and adhere to the civil danger product in effect. Once again, all residents of Georgia are urged to stay indoors until further notice, as violent civil unrest has been reported throughout the entire state. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. This is an update to the situation occurring in the state of Georgia. The attacks that have been going on in the state of Georgia have spread across several states. These states include Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, and West Virginia. These attackers have been reported to be mutilating their victims and tearing them apart, and some reports of cannibalism have been made. These attackers look deranged and have no regards for anything or anyone around them, and will attack any living creature indiscriminately. It seems that these attackers are very drawn to noise. People are being eaten alive on the streets in the many cities and towns of the aforementioned states. In addition, the rumors of the attackers being infected with the disease are true. Any contact with these attackers will result in immediate infection. This disease is reported to be able to spread via bite or scratch marks. If you are believed to be infected, do whatever you can to cure yourself of this disease. Since this disease was discovered so late, and due to the aggressive nature of the infected, residents are advised to avoid the infected at all costs. If one of the infected enter your home, you are urged to either terminate it immediately, or abandon your shelter for safer sanctuary from these creatures. The National Guard is being deployed to infected areas, to assist civilians with the infected, and to help with containment efforts. At this time, please shelter in place, and adhere to military regulations put into place. Gather all essential supplies such as food, water, clothing, medical supplies, and a battery-powered radio for your stay in the shelter. Turn the auditory transmission level on your battery-powered radio loud enough to hear it, but not loud enough to give your location to the infected. Stay tuned for more updates on this life-threatening situation, as emergency updates will be made as this situation develops.
Don't change anything.
The attacks that are occurring in Los Angeles are beginning to increase in activity and severity. If things get any worse, martial law will be in effect. I would really hate to have the military take over, because the situation would get terrifying real quick. For those that don't.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the California Emergency Management Agency. This is not a test. A dangerous situation involving violent civil unrest along with cannibalism, beatings, and mutilation of civilians have occurred within the state of California. In addition, an unknown infection has been reported throughout the entire state. Because of the state of disorder within California, a statewide moratorium is now in effect, and a quarantine will be put into place. Nobody may enter or exit. You will be arrested if you are caught entering, and shot if exiting. This includes the Mexican border. In addition to this, California is now in a state of martial law. The California National Guard has been called in for a joint operation with local law enforcement agencies to restore law and order to affected areas. The National Guard has been ordered to do as it sees fit to reduce rates of infection and mortality, including but not limited to holding for detention of those suspected to be infected, searching of individuals without prior notice, and immediate execution of civilians if they are suspected to be carrying the infection. Blockades have been made in cities with a population over 500,000, as to keep higher concentrations of the infected within the major cities, and to keep the infected within California. Civilians are now ordered to shelter in place, and follow the martial law in effect, as well as any instructions from the military. If you fail to adhere to these regulations, you will be marked for execution. Gather food, water, clothing, medical supplies, and a battery-powered radio with a minute auditory level, as to avoid encounters with the infected. If one of the infected break into your home or shelter, use any means of self-defense to protect your life. At this time, please stand by for further updates. All television and radio stations have now switched to emergency programming. Please await further information, as updates from the United States government will be made by the hour. The emergency alert system has been activated. The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. A dangerous situation is occurring in the western United States. A dangerous infection, as well as violent civil unrest, has spread across the western United States. States reporting infections and civil unrest include Nevada, Washington, Oregon, Montana, Idaho, Colorado, Arizona, Wyoming, Utah, New Mexico, and Texas. The infected are reported as being extremely violent and cannibalistic. The infected look as if they are caught in an unbreakable trance that is only broken when they are killed. Since the infected have spread faster than normal, the National Guard has expanded its jurisdiction to include all infected states, and includes portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, and the southern Canadian border. Residents who live in infected states are ordered to shelter in place to avoid infection, or to avoid being attacked and or killed by the infected. Stock up on essential supplies to last for 2 weeks, and have a good supply of weapons in your shelter for self-defense against the infected. For those that do not live in the western United States, but are receiving this broadcast, must be prepared for the infected, as the infected are expected to spread across the contiguous United States within the next day. A voluntary evacuation of uninfected major cities has been ordered by the military. You do not have to heed this evacuation order, but this is strongly encouraged. If you chose to shelter in place, be ready to defend your life and property. Emergency programming will not be ceasing until the end of this crisis, so stay tuned for emergency updates from your local and state governments, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, as well as the United States government. Please stand by.
This is an emergency action notification, requested by the White House. All EAS participants will follow activation procedures in the EAS Operating Handbook for a national-level emergency. The President of the United States or one of his representatives will shortly deliver a message over the emergency alert system. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by.
We interrupt your programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air to provide news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is WCNN. We will continue to serve the Atlanta area. If you are not in the Atlanta area, you should now tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Atlanta area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. We interrupt your programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is WCNN. This station will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Atlanta area. If you are not in the Atlanta area, you should now tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. This is not a test. A national emergency is occurring in the United States. Mass infections and attacks from infected have been reported in all 50 states. The infected are indiscriminately killing civilians on the streets. Military squads are fighting massive hordes of the infected in the many major cities in the United States. Containment has failed in both the eastern and western United States. In addition, infections and massive hordes of infected have been reported in portions of Canada and Mexico, as well as minor infections in both Central America and Western Europe. At this time, the military has been ordered to terminate any infected, including, but not limited to, adults, elderly, teenagers, children, and newborns. Military squads have been seen sweeping major hospitals clean of infected people, as well as facilitating mass evacuations of major cities to sanctuaries away from infected areas. At this time, all residents of the United States are to either shelter in their current location, or report to military stations for evacuation. A list of sanctuaries for your local area will be played over the emergency alert system, and will also be available on www.fema.com. For those sheltering in place, stock up on supplies such as food, water, clothing, medical supplies, and a battery-powered radio with the backlight forced off. Do not attempt to take on massive groups of the infected, as this will only lead to certain death. Stay silent, or you will attract dozens of the infected to your location. Do whatever you can to protect yourself and your family. Stay tuned for official instructions from the United States government. We interrupt your programming. This is a global emergency. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air to provide news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is WCNN. We will continue to serve the Atlanta area. If you are not in the Atlanta area, you should now tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Atlanta area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. We interrupt your programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is WCNN. This station will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Atlanta area. If you are not in the Atlanta area, you should now tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. Do not use the telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. The The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Wherever you are, take shelter immediately. The United States National Guard in conjunction with the Navy and Air Force will be participating in an aerial bombardment of key major cities within the United States, codename Operation Cobalt. Similar operations are also occurring across the world, as infected have begun to spread their reach to a global stage. At this time, the military will be dropping napalm, as well as other incendiary ordnances and bombs, onto the streets of the major American cities. If you are in a city with a population over 500,000, you need to shelter in place immediately. Get into a sturdy building, and go to the lowest level of that structure. If you do not seek immediate shelter, you will be facing almost certain death. Once attacks cease, report to the nearest.
Everyone in the city of Atlanta needs to seek shelter now. Operation Cobalt has listed Atlanta as one of its many target cities for a real bombardment from the National Guard, as well as Los Angeles, San Diego, Portland, Seattle, Phoenix, Nashville, Chicago, Dallas, Miami, Detroit, Charlotte, St. Louis, and many others. As of this transmission, portions of Midtown and Buckhead have already been bombed. I don't know when our station will.
This league is still home to some of the roughest, toughest enforcers in the game today.
We interrupt your programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
Nous interrompons votre programmation. Il s'agit d'une urgence nationale. Des instructions importantes suivront.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Government of Canada. This is not a test. At this time, the entirety of Canada is in danger. Massive hordes of infected from the United States have spread to all provinces of Canada, and the Canadian Armed Forces will be taking extreme measures to halt this unprecedented outbreak. At this time, all residents need to seek shelter, regardless of where you are at the current moment. The Canadian Armed Forces, with assistance from the United States Armed Forces, will be air-bombing all major cities within their respective borders. Cities with a population over 500,000 are in the question for bombing. Incendiary and conventional ordnances are going to be used within the next 30 minutes. Wherever you are, seek shelter immediately. Go to the lowest level of the sturdiest structure, and remain there until air bombing ceases. If you refute this mandatory order, you will be facing certain death by the infected, or by the government's doing. Seek shelter now. Your life depends on it.
Le message suivant est transmis à la demande du gouvernement du Canada. Ce n'est pas un test. À l'heure actuelle, l'ensemble du Canada est en danger. Des hordes massives de personnes infectées en provenance des États-Unis se sont répandues dans toutes les provinces du Canada, et les forces armées canadiennes prendront des mesures extrêmes pour mettre fin à cette épidémie sans précédent. À l'heure actuelle, tous les résidents doivent chercher un abri, peu importe où vous vous trouvez actuellement. Les forces armées canadiennes, avec l'aide des forces armées américaines, bombarderont toutes les grandes villes à l'intérieur de leurs frontières respectives. Des villes de plus de 500 000 habitants sont susceptibles d'être bombardées. Des ordonnances incendiaires et conventionnelles vont être utilisées dans les 30 prochaines minutes. Où que vous soyez, cherchez immédiatement un abri. Allez au niveau le plus bas de la structure la plus solide et restez-y jusqu'à ce que les bombardements aériens cessent. Si vous réfutez cette ordonnance obligatoire, vous serez menacé de mort par les personnes infectées ou par le gouvernement. Cherchez un abri maintenant. Votre vie en dépend.
This is the emergency alert system. The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. Normal broadcasting will cease immediately. This is a civil emergency warning. Do not venture outside of your homes. Remain calm. Help is on the way. The emergency alert system has been activated. This is the emergency alert system. The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. Normal broadcasting will cease immediately. This is a civil emergency warning. Do not venture outside of your homes. Remain calm. Help is on the way. The emergency alert system has been activated. This is the emergency alert system. The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. Normal broadcasting will cease immediately. This is a civil emergency warning. Do not venture outside of your homes. Remain calm. Help is on the way. The emergency alert system has been activated. Emergency warning. Do not venture outside of your homes. Remain calm. Help is on the way. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by. Please stand by.
I got ice in my veins, blood in my eyes, hate in my heart, love in my mind. I seen nights full of pain, days are the same. You keep the sunshine, save me the rain. I search but never find, hurt but never cry. I work and forever try, but I'm cursed so never mind. And it's worse but better times seem further and beyond. The top gets higher, the more that I climb. The spot gets smaller and I get bigger, trying to get in where I fit in. No room for a nigga, but soon for a nigga it be on, motherfucker. Cause all this bullshit it made me strong, motherfucker. So I pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, bitch, I'ma pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, and I could die now, rebirth, motherfucker. Hop up in my spaceship and leave Earth, motherfucker. I'm gone, motherfucker, I'm gone. I you're heaven sent, and you're hell proof. I woke up in the world and cut the lights off, and confidence is a stain they can't wipe off. My word is my pride, but wisdom is bleak, and that's a word from the wise. Serve to survive, murdered and bribed, and when it got too heavy I put my burdens aside so I could pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, bitch, I'ma pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, and I could die now, rebirth, motherfucker. Hop up in my spaceship and leave Earth, motherfucker. I'm gone. Motherfucker, I'm gone. I'm gone.
It hurts but I never show, this pain you'll never know. If only you could see just how lonely and how cold and frostbite I've become. My back's against the wall when push come to shove. I just stand up and scream fuck 'em all.
Man, it feels like these walls are closing in. This roof is caving in. It's time to raise it then. Your days are numbered like pages in my book of rhymes. Got 'em cooking, boy, this crooked mind of mine. Got 'em all shook and scared to look in my eyes. I stole that fucking clock, I took the time and I came up from behind and pretty much snuck up and butt fuck this game up. Better be careful when you bring my name up. Fuck this fame, that ain't what I came to claim. But the game ain't gonna be the same on the days that I leave it. But I swear one way or another I'ma make these fucking haters believe it. I swear to God, won't spare the ride. I'm a man of my word, so your fucking heads better not. I'ma fuck around in this bitch and roast everybody. Sleep on me, that pillow is where your head alive. Permanently, bitch, it's Betty by. This world is my Easter egg, yeah, prepare to die. My head is swole, my confidence is up. The stage is my pedestal, I'm unstoppable, incredible. Hulk, you're trapped in my medicine ball. I can run circles around you so fast your fucking head is spin, dog. I split your cabbage and your lettuce and olives. I fucking
pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, bitch, I'ma pick the world up and I'ma drop it on your fucking head. Yeah, and I could die now, rebirth, motherfucker. Hop up in my spaceship and leave Earth, motherfucker. I'm gone. Motherfucker, I'm gone. I'm gone.